Do you have a face for a dark room? Do people tell you you're ugly? Have you ever looked in the mirror and it cracked? Have you ever been to the zoo and people throw peanuts and food at you? Well, let me tell you what. Why don't you check out Mark's Wrestling Masks on Facebook? That's MARC''S. Mark's Wrestling Masks on Facebook, because that's who keeps our ugly mugs covered too. Welcome to the Shiz Show with your hosts, Vader from Wish and NWO Machine and NWO Cat.
All right, Vader, since I've already edited part one, here we go with part two of Paul Fontaine from the Wrestling Observer.
Oh, we got an excellent guest.
Did you just interrupt me while I was introducing things?
Sorry.
You see, the guy was all shy a year ago, and now I can't shut him up.
It's your fault. You created this monster.
So this is part two. This is our part two of Paul Fontaine's Wrestling Observer. We're having such a good time, and we figured we didn't get a real chance to get into AEW because I've been trying hard as I might to get into AEW a little bit more. And Vader, in our first little episode, he thinks that AEW's improved. Again, it's just like, here's the UFC again, the Ultimate Fighting Chihuahuas. And, it's okay. One just got pinned. So we're going to just this part two is all going to be AEW stuff because it's gone through that, as we know, wrestling's high and you go through a lull. Maybe it's through its lull.
Hope so.
And it's coming back up. But I just want to mention one thing, and it goes back to 2 episodes ago where we did a tribute, we talked about Virgil in the story when I worked with him and things like that. Chris Jericho has proven why, like we always got both Canadians having good hearts. He kicked in $5,000 for Virgil's funeral.
Yeah, I read that.
Wow.
I don't see any other names doing that. Why didn't $1 Million Man? Not that he didn't.
Well, somebody, Ted DiBiase, and it was like $5, so I don't think it was really him.
So why not
But maybe he didn't. He just didn't do the GoFundMe. Maybe he.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. But I mean, to see Jericho's done that a couple times now, where it's just out of nowhere. I don't think someone mentioned, Jericho just does it for recognition. No. Sorry. If he did it for recognition, he would say, "Hey, I donated $100." Yeah. He doesn't even mention anywhere that he's donated.
No.
It's everybody else finding out he's done it.
A buddy of mine who also writes for the Observer had his dog needed a life-saving operation, and he did a GoFundMe. He's trying to raise, I think, $5,000, and Jericho donated $250. Jericho doesn't know him, and he just did it. He didn't ask for publicity or anything. There's some good people that work there.
Yeah. And I just think that just shows Jericho's appreciation for the business, and he understands it's almost like the NHLers, right? Yeah. These guys are making $15 million in 3 years. Yeah. And back in the day, the guys were making $1,500. Yeah. Right. And he's the guy who's piping into them, saying, "Hey, listen, man, these guys aren't making money like we did. Right. I can at least help pay for his funeral costs. Because he paved the way. Right. So I thought that was.
I think he donated $5,000 for Abdul the Butcher.
That's it. That's the other one.
Yeah. So he's a good dude. Speaking of AEW, I didn't even mention this last week, but I actually do an AEW review podcast, and it's free on YouTube. Every Wednesday, right after Dynamite ends, me and my buddy Jeff Hawkins, we get together and we talk for anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes about the show that we just watched, and we're a little more negative on it than most AEW podcasts, so you guys might enjoy it.
Well, I will. Yeah.
I will too.
But it's free on YouTube. Just search the Dynamite Show.
Okay.
Dynamite Show. Okay. Nice and easy to remember. And we usually have about anywhere from 25 to 50 people watching us while we're recording. So they comment in the YouTube section, and then a couple hundred after the fact. So we have a lot of fun with it, and it's part of why I get to go to these shows for free. So
Vader, think of something. That's what we should do. Go somewhere free. Right now, I just go to your place free.
There you go. Yeah.
I didn't even get. Usually, I get pizza. Nothing today.
I made 48 deviled eggs.
I said,
"You want a
smell
deviled
them.
egg?"
You keep blaming the eggs.
Yeah.
So, Paul, let's get back to AEW. Do you think that they are on an uptick now?
Yes, I do. Just because of some of the names they've recently brought in. Will Ospreay being one. Kazuchika Okada debuted last week. And then this coming week, the former Sasha Banks is supposed to debut.
Oh, cool.
So, big business in Boston. With Boston with 2 S's.
Oh, yeah,
so that's
sense.
the clue.
There you go.
I know, between that and then, they got their solid, they just recently brought in Copeland and, Jericho's still kicking around and Moxley. And
I love how they sent off Sting. That was a proper send off.
Yes. That was great.
Yeah.
I saw
bits and parts. I didn't see the match yet.
Our buddy Ted the Hillbilly Heel posted Sting's entrance, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
One kid came out in the All-American outfit, and the next kid came out as the NWO one.
And they both did a decent Stinger splash.
They did a little movie right before that of his career, and they showed him watching it. And then as soon as the movie's over, he looks in the camera and he says, "It's showtime. One last time."
Now,
it was
either one of you, do you think that's it, or are we going to have like another Ric Flair for 30 years?
No, I think that's
No, I think it's it. I mean, we'll see him. He'll do like appearances and stuff, but he's not going to be in the ring again, I don't think.
No.
And I hope not.
Again, there's the legacy, right?
He went out on top and just leave it.
I still.
This is like Michael Jordan, with the one shot. When he should have just quit. And then he came back. Flair should have quit after the Shawn Michaels match.
Now you might have heard this too. I can't remember where I read this, and I just kind of poked through a couple things because again I didn't see that pay-per-view, but I heard that in the back there was quite the argument because he refused to go over.
Oh,
and he's like, when you retire, your boots up, your toes up,
and the Bucks. Yeah. And the Bucks were the exact opposite. No, we're not winning. No way.
They didn't do it.
So usually, Jimmy, you've been in locker rooms, and people have been in locker rooms. Usually, it's the other way around.
Oh yeah. I hate to say it, but the young guys are always more than happy to retire somebody, and you know that. Vader. But I thought, and I'm not a big fan of the Bucks, to be honest.
I was at first, but I'm just.
I'm tired of them.
It's just like you've said before, like it's just gymnastics. Sometimes.
But I thought that was pretty.
That was classy.
That was a total class act to say there's no way. And again, knowing what I know, I still don't. And a guy like Flair, I'm shocked that he actually
stayed out of it.
That he stayed out of it. But even
More
with the
or
Michaels
less.
thing, I'm surprised he let Michaels pin him for his last match.
Yeah.
Because of who he is.
Right.
And maybe
do you remember the famous line in the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match where he's about to do a super kick and he says, "I'm sorry, I love you." So the Bucks, they're about to super kick Sting, and the camera focuses on them and they say, "We're not sorry and we hate you." And they both super kick them. It was so great.
And lately, this is the other thing I thought was kind of neat, and I don't know. Maybe they're accepting each other and like a cat and a dog here. But there's been mentions of AEW crossover and WWE. They're not afraid to mention people, right? Like the announcers, like Michael Cole said, "Hey, Sting's retirement match, congratulate!" We all knew.
Well, and Pat McAfee said it was a hell of a match. Which I was shocked. To even acknowledge that they exist, let alone that they had a good match.
I don't think Vince would have let that happen.
No. And that's what I mean. So I think they're finally, maybe they realize together they can do something, right? And I'm hoping that AEW can take Cody back.
That would be the biggest pay-per-view, that they could do right now would be, like a combined,
that's what I was just thinking. Can you imagine, call it Two Worlds Collide or whatever you want to do, and have it, and literally like write a good program where each one doesn't look weak.
Well, they've kind of done that.
You do
Japan.
Roman Reigns and Kenny Omega. You can have the Bucks against the Usos, and just all these dream matches that you've never seen.
Well, and here's my other thought, because Kenny Omega's always said no to Vince. So. Now that Vince is out of the picture, will Kenny Omega, because I know Kenny's wanted to protect his character and do his writing and do his piece, and now maybe he will get that chance. Because I still think, to me, WWE is still the bigger picture. Like to me, it still is NHL versus AHL.
Right.
That's just my own thought process.
Well, I saw something that Sean Spears just went over to NXT, and they kept his in-ring entrance from AEW, where he's just sitting on the chair with the lights.
So and his name. So he's not Ty Dillinger. He's Sean Spears.
So maybe that would be. I don't. Well, I mean, everyone was all pissy about Gunther and Walter, but like to me,
Gunther's a better name.
It's a way better name. Yeah. Because at least Pete Dunne went back. So,
well, that's the other
Butch,
one.
That was stupid.
Like, still, again, why have him go to Butch and go back now? Yeah. Like now, it's like, oh, we've said this for the last 3 years. Why would you put him as Butch?
Yeah.
But I wonder if Vince is rolling over in his courtroom before finding out, oh, these guys are all going back to their own names.
So, well, I mean, even you look at the guy like everyone said Braun Breaker. Like, why isn't he Rex Steiner or whatever? Braun Breaker's a great name.
Braun Breaker's a great name.
Yeah, like these people don't know what they're talking about. But they just want to bitch to bitch.
Yeah, and let's take a look at my day, your day, Vader's day.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a guy that we thought came right out of the audience, and his real name was Earthquake, right? And then he becomes John Tenta, and then or like Tugboat, from Tugboat to
Shockmaster.
Yeah, like we all knew they were the same guy, so it just makes sense that if you're in wrestling,
well, your guy, Razor Ramon. We just saw him as Scott Hall in the AWA for years, and then all of a sudden he's in WWF and he's Razor Ramon.
Yeah, and he's got an accent.
And then he goes over to WCW, and he still tried to keep the accent for a little while going. But that was
you want to know how naive I was. Like back then, I watched Scott Hall. Like I was a big fan of him and Kurt Hennig as a tag team. When he was in WCW as the Diamond Stud, or even when he came over to WWF, I had no idea it was the same guy.
I didn't either because he got rid of the mustache when he was the Diamond Stud.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize him. I'm like, he looks familiar.
No, but yeah. So I mean, that's just the way it was back then. Even Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, he wasn't really a drill sergeant. No. But I just watched that documentary, so that's why it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I saw a bit and piece of it where he said he just admired them and studied them and finally became that.
Well, and he got in trouble because he was being interviewed in character on the radio, and then they asked him, "Oh, were you in Vietnam?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did 3 tours, 68 to 74." And then they got in trouble. He says, "Well, I wasn't Bob Remus." Like the character of Scott's do you not understand? I never said I was Bob Remus. I said I was Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter was in the Marines. I wasn't.
And that's I can understand why some of the Marines might have got a little angry.
Stolen Valor's a huge.
It wasn't even that. It was the wrestling media that got upset at them. So. Well, in fact, my boss was one of the ones. So.
We won't mention who that is. We won't mention your
Big
boss.
Dave.
Ixnay on the Osprey. Your boss is Sasha.
Dave's a good guy. Dave's a good dude, though. I like Dave, but he was off base on that one.
Okay, well, we'll leave him alone. I don't want to get blocked by another guy.
Well, we'll only get 1 star on this podcast.
Oh no! I'll take it.
There's no
5 stars if it was in the Tokyo Dome.
It would be an honor to get 1 star.
So let's let's go back to AEW for a second. Where do you think we're going next with AEW? Like, what do you do with Moxley?
Oh man, what would I do? I'd probably have him maybe go wrestling for the world title. But what I think they're going to do is him and Claudio are probably going to win the tag team titles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See that happening.
There is a possibility he goes to Japan. He's got a big match with Naito, who's the IWGP champion in April in Chicago. Okay. So if he wins that belt, he could go to New Japan for a while, which might not be the worst thing in the world. He goes away for a few months, comes back, fresh in people's minds. Maybe even comes back as a champion, wrestling. AEW will do championship matches for any company, put it on their TV. They got about 800 belts on that show.
Oh, yeah. And they have a good working relationship with Japan, it seems. Like
they do,
they've got a lot of talent swap and stuff. So.
Yeah. But, Moxley's great.
I mentioned this a couple weeks ago on our. It seems like he's losing weight. He's looking really thin.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I wonder why.
Well, he quit drinking, So that's part of it, I'm sure. He trains pretty heavy, and he trains in MMA. So it's possible that that's why he's leaned down. But yeah, I think he looks like he's maybe 210.
Yeah, he doesn't look. He doesn't,
yeah.
He doesn't look as probably, not that he. To me, he wasn't an intimidating character.
Even when he was Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, but like he looked more like a guy who was on a bender and just had puke on his wife beater kind of thing. But I do like him, and I've said that before that I do like him. But I was in my mind, I'm sitting there going, you know what? Is he ill? Yeah. Right, because he has lost a lot of weight, but maybe it's what Paul's saying. Yeah,
that'll do it.
Not that wrestling isn't cardio already.
Yeah,
but one of my good friends is friends with him, and it is by design. Like he wanted to lose some of the weight, and then some of it is just from the not drinking. Like so, he probably had about 10 pounds. That was just kind of beer belly, kind of thing. As much as you're going to have on a guy who's in that kind of shape.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too long about him because he's probably bleeding.
Yes.
It's been about 2 minutes, so he's probably cut already. But that's the only thing I wish he would kind of slow down on.
Yeah. I think he has though.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Now, can I talk about? I got two favorites of AEW. I have to admit, I do. I do. I love since I'm an ass man, right? Yeah. Billy Gunn to me is my hero. At his age, to be in the shape that he's in, doing what he's doing, it's like Sting, right? You're just going, wow, like you're just, and it's not that Billy Gunn isn't like Sting. Kind of didn't do. He knew where he wanted to go. He did one or two moves. He didn't get hurt,
right?
And then he would do something. You go, why is he doing that?
He's going through panes of glass.
But and Billy Gunn too. Like I noticed for a little while, something must have been bugging him because he did slow down a bit, and now he's back to being Billy Gunn again. So he's my favorite. Where do you think this trio goes? With the Acclaimed?
I mean, it feels like they're going to break up.
Yeah.
Jay White is like the kind of the catalyst for that.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun because that's his nickname. But I think it ends up with Billy back with his sons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that to me is natural. But I don't. Does that make him a heel or a babyface? Maybe Max Caster, the rapper. Maybe he's the one that's going to churn because. He's been messing up his raps lately, and then the other guys are giving him a hard time about it. Maybe he turns heel, and then and then that leaves Anthony Bowens and as a babyface with Billy. Like I don't know, Daddy Ass. To make the kind of money he's making to like Scissor Me Daddy and selling all those shirts. I mean, hats off, man.
Well, that's why I'm wondering. Like, if you take away the Scissor Me, right?
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't split them because that's huge.
No.
Like to me,
well, that's why I'd stick him with Bowens.
Yeah.
Because and Bowens is gay. Openly gay, and so that works. So and then Caster can go up. No, but the Sons are like they're goofballs.
Yeah.
And they're lovable, so they're good workers.
Yeah,
I like the team. Yeah. It's such a weird combination with and then on the other side Jay White and Juice Robinson when he comes back.
Yeah.
I
don't really like what they did with Jay White. What they're doing with him lately. Like I like when he came in, like he was this super heel from Japan that came over and he's going to run the table, and now he's like doing comedy, which
well we might see that again this week because he's got Darby Allin on Dynamite. So
okay.
So he maybe that's where the heel turn happens. I mean, I don't think he ever really turned babyface, but maybe that just cements it. So.
Okay, now let's talk about my favorite personality in AEW. To me, this guy is slowly but surely becoming the king of AEW, Prince Nana.
Call me the money.
I'm honestly, whose house? Like, I think
he is great.
He is so funny.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, like, this is what, and you and I, we all love characters, right? We all love the character. He's not a wrestler.
Jimmy Hart.
He's, to me, he's Jimmy Hart, but he's a funnier version of Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then part of the dance that he sort of does, it always, like when he does where he grabs the belt and does the whatever, right? Like to me, it's very like if you reminisce back to Fred Sanford's Heart Attack, like, it's almost like that. And then like so you have the comedy angle, and out of nowhere, and it's really not out of nowhere. It's because he's talented and a good wrestler. We have Swerve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the two of them together, they're gold.
That's a guy WWE missed the boat on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But what do? You never know. It's like a trade in hockey, right? You go, okay, well, this guy is sucking bad, and then you put him in another group, and you're going, why did we get rid of this guy?
Yeah.
But they didn't give him that chance, right?
Not really. I mean, in NXT, you could kind of see it. But as soon as he came up to the main roster and Vince looked at them and he looked at that top dollar and said, oh, yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Well, you got Swerve.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And, they missed on him. AEW's missed on a lot of people, too. So, it works both ways. I mean, look at Cody. Cody was, a mid-carder in AEW, and then he goes to WWE, and he's the biggest thing going. So, it's all how you're booked and what you do.
Cody is still against another mid-carder.
I know you're not a big fan of the big nose. I'm sorry, the big dog.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him and his donkey teeth. But let's stick with AEW. I want this one to be an all AEW. So where do you think they're going to go with Swerve now? Because they've kind of teased putting a belt on him enough. I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think he wins the belt. Either they got a pay-per-view coming up in April, Dynasty. It's either going to be there or possibly in May at the show I'll be at, Double or Nothing. If it was me, I'd probably do it in April, just because I think the end game is Will Ospreay in London in August.
Oh yeah.
So at least if Swerve gets the belt now, he gets to hold it for 3 or 4 months. Where May to August, that's a little quick. And even Joe, I think the idea probably was Joe was going to lose this belt, on this last pay-per-view, but Samoa Joe's been doing so great.
Yeah.
It's, you don't even want to take the belt off of him. And so I think that Samoa Joe and Swerve, if they have the match at Dynasty in April, that's going to be a hell of a match. And you got Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay on that card already. They've announced, I think. And
I wonder if Hangman TA is going to to be on there. He's
Could be,
Magnum TA.
Hangman TA. That's a good one. I look at him and I was like, it looks a little like Jake the Snake back in the day too.
Yeah, that too.
Same thing, Magnum. I thought the same, like Magnum Snake.
Yeah,
right. He's kind of got that look of the both of them going, except for the
hair.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and then well, Jake's on oxygen anyway, so.
Now Jake is. No, they got a bunch of those guys hanging around, but I think they got a lot of exciting kind of directions they're going to go, and then what are they going to do with Sasha Banks? I think obviously the match for her is probably Britt Baker, but she's been gone for a while too, so. I don't. If she comes back at the same time, that could be a big match for them, and her and Toni Storm.
Oh yeah. They're women's.
There's another boat miss.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, she's awesome.
Storm,
I love this new character.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, it just cracks me
up. And now she. Sorry, I can't remember the other girl she's with. Now she's
Mariah
dressed
May.
her like her.
Mariah May.
Right? I thought that was her.
I know. I was like, first,
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job with Toni Storm, and it's almost like they. Whether Toni Storm came up with that character, which I think she might have.
That's what I was going to say. I wonder if they're giving him a lot of creative freedom with or if they got somebody just a super genius, or maybe it's Chat GPT. It's all AI.
So Tony Khan says that it was his idea. This was an idea that he had for a character, but she took it in a direction that he wasn't expecting her to go.
Okay.
So he said it was kind of a combination of the two of them.
Yeah.
So they had this idea for like an All About Eve kind of thing, or if you want to go more modern, Showgirls.
Yeah.
But they've gone. She's just gone completely over the top with it. Yeah. And then Mariah May coming in. She's if people had maybe only watched WWE and haven't seen AEW, she's kind of like Tiffany Stratton. Mm-hmm. Kind of the same kind of look, probably about the same level of ability. But she's got just this amazing personality, and I think that's a future superstar they got there.
Yeah,
maybe a couple years, not yet.
Yeah.
In a couple years. Yeah.
I do like my Tiffy time.
Yes. Well, you know what? When she goes to the top rope and she's about to do that moonsault and she taps her wrist, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna, and when she's a baby face, the whole arena is gonna go Tiffy time.
Yeah.
It's just
she's building something, right?
Yeah.
For that to happen.
Yes.
So
I think she's gonna have a big Mania match with Bianca Belair. Is my prediction.
Oh, there's that'd be good. Yeah, that would be a good match, actually. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Bianca. I never have been a big fan.
I just don't like the hair twirl, but she's a great worker.
Like, and strong. Yeah. Like, my goodness, is she strong. I just personally, I mean, as much as I like Rhea Ripley, I've had enough of Rhea Ripley. Yeah. I wish they would have she's almost like I've said this before. I know we're getting off the AEW track, but
that's okay.
She's just she's the female Roman Reigns. She doesn't put that belt up enough. No, that's just my own thought, and I wish the champions would do more.
Well, she's wrestling my daughter's favorite wrestler at Mania, so she's gonna lose.
She has to.
Yeah, she's got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
hang
on, hold it, ladies and gentlemen. You might have an exclusive. Paul Fontaine has been known to personally text Becky and Seth.
Yeah.
Are we going with it's not a prediction?
Oh no! I haven't asked her. Although we did have an opportunity to go, but we just can't go in April because Emily has a surgery that we don't know when it's going to happen.
Peter and I are just sitting in our gitch on the couch here, waiting for an invite to Mania, and you gave away the tickets.
I think they were for Emily only.
They were not for us.
Emily and a guest.
But as my good friend, who's passed on, always said, Vader, dial tone this guy.
Well, if you're going to be like that, I might just have to end this.
No, Paul, we were just kidding, Matt. Hello?
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you son of a... What did you say to him?
That was you.
I never did anything.
You're being a dick.
Joking around with him. I can't believe he did that.
See, look what your cheapness has caused.
Well, that was Paul Fontaine.
That was awesome.
That was a fun bit today, and that was part 2 of our
That was cool for me because I watch all the UFCs, and then I see his tweet come up all the time. I'm like, and then to have him on our show was like awesome.
Yeah, so, Paul is
sorry, I'm marking out a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed. Hang on, he just texted me. He goes, "How did that work out?" I just LOL'd him. So it's all good. And so thanks to Paul Fontaine, Wrestling Observer. You can catch him at Twitter at Paul Ace Fontaine.
Yeah. And after AEW, he's got his podcast.
Called Dynamite, and it's a live version, so you can interact with Paul and his on-air partner through that. So that was part 2. Yeah, and I hopefully you enjoyed it. So Vader, until next time.
Are you gonna ask me to dance? Okay, then keep kicking out. I've been working on the Prince Nana dance. I'm adding to a repertoire.
No.
Well, I'll just. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.